call the October 22nd Town Council meeting to order. Would you please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us pray. Father, I invite you into our meeting today to lead, guide us, share your wisdom with us, that we'll make the right decisions for all the citizens of Nashville. Amen. The first item on our agenda is meeting approval of minutes, and we need, are there any corrections to the October 8th minutes? If not, do I hear a motion that we approve those?
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved for October the 8th. The next minutes in review are October the 7th, 2025. Any correction to those minutes? If not, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
The minutes for October the 7th are now approved. At this time, it's time for our public speaking. Remember, you come up, you state your name, your address, and you have 3 minutes. So the first person on our list is Anna Joyner.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Anna Joyner, 806 South Creek Drive, Nashville, North Carolina. When you drive through Nashville, what do you see? What do you think about when you drive through Nashville? The tree-lined streets of downtown, the beautiful historic homes, the one-sided downtown old buildings, the courthouse, the Cooley Manor. What makes us different than any other town? This sets Nashville apart, is our history and our historic homes and our trees. In 2000, thereabouts, I was here at the council meeting asking for help when the Methodist Church was tearing down the Sally Braswell home and the Vaughn house on Washington Street. I ran into John Ed Davenport and I asked about saving them. He said, "Get used to it, they're coming down." He's gone now, but the scar remains. The footprint of the Methodist Church encompasses 1.5 city blocks, where there once stood 7 historic homes on the register, and to take down a corner home will forever leave a huge scar, as does several of the homes now gone. I ask you, the council, and I know who's a member of the Methodist Church, to please implore your trustees to reconsider the consequences they are doing. 7 trustees are making the decision for the church and the entire town. We must have local preservation now. There are 3 homes I know of right now in dire neglect. 1 on Church, 2 on Body Street. Why can't the local code enforcer mandate all homes in this district to clean up, fix up, or sell? I will gladly serve on this committee. New Bern, Tarboro, Raleigh, Beaufort, Washington, why are we so behind? This reminds me of the Louvre. Priceless, significant jewels of history are gone. And Nashville is about to lose their priceless crown jewels. And what are we doing about it? This is the National Register of Historic Places District. All these homes, 27 are gone. And I don't know if you've seen the history and architecture of Nash County. Several homes in this book are gone. Please, I implore you, let's get this thing going now before we lose the other homes I see as I drive by every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. The next person's Virginia Buzinski.
Good morning, Mayor Brown and members of Town Council. My name is Virginia Budzinski, 400 East Church Street here in Nashville, and I live in the neighborhood immediately adjacent to the historic home at 111 South Hilliard Street. I moved here in 2021, drawn in a large part by the character and charm of our historic district, the very qualities that make Nashville unique and livable. I am here to express my deep concerns about the proposed demolition of the historic home owned by the local Methodist Church to create a parking lot in a residential area. this is not just any building. It represents a tangible link to our town's past, reflecting craftsmanship, architectural style, and history that cannot be replaced once it is gone. It tells the story of families who built here and lived here. Losing this home would be a permanent loss to Nashville's heritage. What is particularly troubling is that the church officials have not responded to any requests for dialogue regarding this plan. Residents like me have tried to engage, but our voices have been unheard. This lack of communication leaves us with only concern and uncertainty about the future of our neighborhood. I understand the church's needs to serve their congregation. However, turning a historic residence into a parking lot raises significant concerns about the integrity of our historic district, the character of the neighborhood, and the quality of life for nearby residents. Historic districts exist to protect the unique sense of place that makes Nashville special, to encourage preservation, and to promote responsible development that respects our shared history. This home was bought by the church in 2023 directly from the owner and has been left to Mother Nature the last few years without anything being done besides occasional grass cutting. I walk past it every day, and it is a shame they have let it go. Allowing demolition sets a dangerous precedent. It would irreversibly alter the visual and cultural fabric of our historic district. Preserving our historic homes is about honoring the past, protecting the integrity of the community, and maintaining the very qualities that draw people like me to Nashville. I respectfully urge the town council to deny or revoke the demolition permit and to reconsider zoning requests and encourage the church to work with residents to find a solution that respects both their needs and the historic character of our neighborhood. Thank you for your time and for your commitment to preserving the integrity of Nashville's historic district, and I would like to even push to obtain signage of the historic district of the neighborhoods, and would like to also be considered for a committee that is being put together. Thank you.
Thank you. Randy Shackelford.
My name is Randy Shackelford, and my home is 217 South Body Street, right around the corner. And yes, I do remember when the lot across the street, the whole end of that block was all grass field that I played in, and we saw huge rats running through the creek. But I'm here also to speak on historic preservation. I lived in historic downtown Wilmington for 16 years before leaving in 2021 to make my home in Africa. And it was a wonderful experience to live in such a historic district. Obviously, their historic district was one of the largest, if not the largest in the state. In fact, I think several years ago, it was the second largest in the country behind Savannah. But I want to speak on what I think is the importance of the historic district. And others have spoken on specifics, and you'll hear more. But historic preservation, to me, is more than just the buildings, but the buildings is where it all originates. How many of us know of Congressman Cooley? Obviously, almost we all do. I remember when I was 8 years old riding my bicycle, and the schools were closed for Election Day, and I was riding my bicycle by the Nashville Elementary School gym, which was the polling place, and saw Congressman Cooley coming out. And I happened to know who he was, and I said hello, and he said hello back to me. But I never knew that there was someone before him who obviously had the history and the wherewithal and was successful enough to build the grand home that became his and we all now refer to as Cooley Manor. But other stories here in this town, how many of us knew that there was someone who hosted the agriculture director of, the director or the secretary, the minister of agriculture for Thailand here in this town? We all know about Roy Cooper, who became governor. His childhood home, original childhood home, before moving across town, was just up the street at the corner of Body and Cross. And if I'm not mistaken, before his family moved across town, he witnessed and his home was in jeopardy due to the burning of the cotton gin that was across the street, which was a tremendous flame. There were other historic individuals or other members of our community that were of historic note. There was a gentleman who used to come into town every day on his flatbed truck with 55-gallon drums to fill with water for his hogs. But this man was so talented at the violin that he had played before the Queen of England. There was a classmate of mine who was going to school at North Carolina Central University, and he was photographed and included in the pages of National Geographic. These are just a few. I just wanted to emphasize what I think is the importance of the historic district, because all of those stories come from a home. And all of those stories come from what Nashville was and all of those small businesses that supported them. So I encourage you to please consider historic district. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Randy. The next person is Brianna, I think, Miller.
Okay. Hi, my name is Brianna Miller. I live at 102 Sunshine Court here in Nashville. So I moved here with my husband about 2 years ago from Phoenix, Arizona. Anna Joyner was my realtor. And at that time, I shared with her my interest in old homes and in historic architecture. In fact, I said I didn't want a house built after the 1950s, because honestly and truly, they just don't make them like they used to. These old homes aren't just history, they are art. Now, I did end up with a house built in the 80s. That was a compromise I had to make as a first-time home buyer, but I still intend to buy and renovate a historic property someday. I moved to North Carolina and to this area particularly because of the number of historic properties, the charm of the Main Street storefronts, the beautiful old homes downtown. Like I said, I am from Arizona. They don't have architectural significance there. It isn't quaint. Everything is a new construction or a tract neighborhood with a dirt plot. Everything is steel and concrete. If y'all have ever lived somewhere like that, you can see the stark contrast when you come to a place like this. Nashville has a warm and inviting feeling. It has what makes a town not just a town, but a community, in large part due to these beautiful old homes. I think there's sometimes a misconception that younger people don't care about history or about old homes, but that's simply not true. I moved to this community for that reason. So when I learned from Anna about all the properties that have been destroyed in service of parking lots or similar ventures, and about the church's plan for 111 S. Hilliard Street, I knew I had to make my voice heard as a new community member on this issue. So I'm asking you to please prioritize the preservation of these important parts of this town. Nashville needs a preservation committee and a way to work with property owners on these issues so we don't lose any more of the town's history. I will also gladly serve on a committee for this purpose. Please help us save all the old houses.
Thank you so much. Thank you. The first item on our agenda is Historic Preservation District.
Mayor and Council, once again, good morning to everybody, and also good morning to the esteemed citizens of the town of Nashville. Mayor and Council, as you know, local realtor Anna Joyner, who is here today, also Joanne Cooper, owner and operating editor of the Nashville Graphics, has adamantly been coming to the town council requesting that town staff and the council start a road to begin a historic preservation for the town of Nashville. After hearing directions from the council at the last meeting and hearing the council wants to look into it, I reached out to Ramona Bartos and also Ms. Chrisley Brantley at the State Historic Preservation Committee. I worked with them on some other projects for a other association. We're getting them to do some training. They were able to get in contact with me and have some brief meetings. We've been having discussion. I've been sending things out to the council in the manager's report, but I thought today would be a good day to have Ms. Brantley come, give the council a presentation of what the Historic Preservation Commission and the Department of Historic Preservation can do to help us establish a commission. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Ms. Chrisley Brantley. She is here to address the council with her presentation and also entertain any questions that the council may have after the presentations. Thank you, Ms. Chrisley Brantley, for coming here to represent the North Carolina State Historic Preservation.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Can you hear me? Okay. Can I take this out because I move around a little bit?
Make yourself at home.
All right. Thank you. And thank you for the clicker. I appreciate you guys having us today. I'm joined by my colleague, Lauren Poole. Lauren is the Survey and National Register Historic Preservation Specialist, and her territory is all of eastern North Carolina, including Nash County. I think Nash County is the edge of your territory. Lauren's wheelhouse is National Register. So I'm here to give you some information. If I move away from this microphone and you can't hear me or you can't hear me in the back, please let me know. My voice is soft, so just wave at me. We'll get started. I know, is anyone familiar with this map? What, a Sanborn map? Oh, yeah. This is a fire insurance map from 1917, and it shows the footprint of Nashville. If you look to the right, you can see the courthouse. Properties that are red are brick. Properties that are yellow are frame. This is a tool we use often, and it's just fun, and I'm a little bit of a map nerd, as you'll see in a second. Maybe. Yeah. There are 3 different types of historic designations in North Carolina, 3 main types. And there's the National Historic Landmarks. There are about 40 in North Carolina. The National Park Service handles that completely. We have nothing to do with that. All of those National Historic Landmarks, though, are also listed in the National Register. Some examples include like the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse, Biltmore Estate, Old Salem. So these are properties and places that speak to the heritage of the entire United States. Oh, I got a little ahead of myself. I apologize. Okay. The National Register of Historic Places is a federal program, and it is administered by our office. Lauren does a whole lot of work with it, but the ultimate decision is the National Park Service. And it's an honorary. It's an honorary listing, and it's also used to help the federal government with their planning. And then local designation, we're going to talk about that more in a few minutes, but that is completely a local issue. So we're going to talk real quick about the federal piece and the state piece, which are the 2 pieces that historic preservation falls under. The federal piece began in 1966 when the National Historic Preservation Act was passed. And that was as a response to federal development and urban renewal, and they realized that so many important buildings were being torn down quickly. So it sets up the State Historic Preservation Office, which Lauren and I are part of, sets up the National Register of Historic Places, and it set up Section 106, which is the planning piece. So if you have a property that's in the National Register and there's any federal undertaking, such as permits or federal money, those properties are reviewed to mitigate any adverse effects to the property. I will get the hang of this before I'm done. I'm sorry, I'm going to make everybody dizzy. So these are our office's known historic resources. I told you I was a map geek. This is an awesome map. If you're a historian as well, you can go down a rabbit hole with this map because it's an interactive map. And it's available to the public. The blue dots or stars are National Register listed individual properties or districts. And then there's different colors for different things. And I'm going to show you local in a minute. But if I zoomed in on that map, this is what I would see. To the left is more of Nashville. You guys have a huge planning jurisdiction. I didn't realize how large it was until I started looking at this. But you'll see the National Register, Nashville Historic District that's listed in the National Register. And then you see some orange dots and stars. Those are properties that were surveyed. For whatever reason, either the property owner or whoever did not look at pursuing National Register listing, or they may not have been eligible. Your newest property is the Tobacco Growers Cooperative Association Warehouse. We all know it as Nashville Building Supply, right? That's a tax credit project, a very successful tax credit project, which is one of the benefits of being listed in the National Register. And then I zoomed in even closer to just the historic district so you could kind of see the shape of it. Yes. If you click on any of those dots, you can pull up. Oh, you're awesome. Thank you. Thank you. You've just made my life a ton easier. If you click on any of these little dots, I won't get too excited with this, I promise. A box will pop up. So depending on what dot you click on, 4 or 5 boxes may pop up, 2 boxes may pop up. I'm going to skip this first box first, and we'll go back to that. But I clicked on this property, and this first box talks about the National Historic District. But the second box talks about the individual property, and I picked the E.T. Bass Lustron House just because Lustron houses are so cool. If you're not familiar with them, they were made to supply housing for soldiers coming back from World War II. And they're prefabricated, and they're made to be put up quickly. And I don't know if you've been by this house on Hilliardston Street. Only about 3,000 were made before the company went out of business, and I think they're out of Chicago. 39 came to North Carolina. Nashville had 2 of them. One of them was demolished, but the E.T. Bass Lustron House still stands. And so reportedly, Nashville had 3 of them. So if any of you are aware of where the other Lustron House is, or if it even exists, please let me know. That's kind of a legend we're not sure about. So if you go to the third box that popped up, that will take you to a street view. So this is all available to you and to the public if you want to learn more about the properties that have been surveyed in your area or anywhere across the state. Now we're going to go back to the first box that popped up, and you'll notice it says more info. Oh, also sometimes you can scroll down and there may be a photo link, or there's the address, coordinates, more information. But if there's a link here to the National Register Historic District, if you click on that link, it will take you to the nomination that Anna was showing you. The Nashville National Register Historic District was established in 1987. Its period of significance was 1830 to 1937, and the nomination is 62 pages. So there's a rule of thumb with historic properties and that is 50 years. So it was 1987, you had houses built as late as 1937, but they had to stop it at that 50-year mark. Is how the federal government, the National Park Service works with the National Register. Many have been updated since then. You do have a house that has bones that are 1830. I don't know if anybody's aware of that. It's over there near the Cooley Manor. And in this National Register nomination, which is available to anyone, it will give a brief information, a little brief paragraph about each one of the properties. Since we talked about the E.T. Bass Lustron House, I pulled that one and cut and pasted it for you. And it just talks about how a porch was added to it, how Mr. Bass was a tobacconist. It talks a little bit about the Lustron House. But if you'll notice, it says NC, and that means it's non-contributing. That's because the house was built after 1937. If you were to update the National Register District or have it updated, 99.9% that house would be contributing. So, am I going too fast, or any questions so far from you guys? Okay. Yeah, I'll be open for it, but sometimes I get real excited and nervous and just keep moving, and so I do have this little chart, and I believe, did all of you receive this prior? Okay. So this is just a real quick little chart that talks about the difference between the National Register of Historic Places and local designation. National Register is a federal program. The National Park Service makes the ultimate decision. The local program is totally a local government issue. We have no authority over you. We have no purview. We're here to help, but that's totally a local decision. National Register is not regulated. There's no restrictions unless you receive a grant or any kind of federal benefit. Tax credits, I think, Lauren, it's a 5-year. You have to maintain it for 5 years to the Secretary of the Interior standards. Local designation is regulated by certificates of appropriateness, and I think that's the big deal. That's the real issue where people balk at local designations. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. National Register properties are considered in federal undertakings. Local are not unless they're also in the National Register. And National Register properties are potentially eligible for tax credits. Local is not unless it's also in the National Register. I will say individually designated local properties, the individual, they are eligible for up to a 50% tax deferment, though. National Register, National Historic Landmarks does not protect properties from demolition. Really, local designation does not protect properties from demolition. The thing with local designation, though, the Historic Commission can deny demolition for up to 365 days. And the reason for that is to give them time to work with the property owner for other alternatives, whether to sell the house to someone else, to move the house, or commercial building, whatever it may be, to salvage some of the architectural material inside the house. So that cannot be denied. There is a very small segment of the population that can be denied, and that's if a property is of statewide significance. I won't go into that, but that's a whole separate application that involves our state historic preservation officer, and it's per legislation. There are only 11 in North Carolina that have that designation, statewide significance. So we talked about the federal. We're going to go back to the state of North Carolina and the enabling legislation. I'm not going over all this legislation, but I wanted it here so you could reference it when you did some research on your own. North Carolina has over 100 historic preservation commissions. The last time I counted, there were 106. We do not have purview over them, but we are available to work with them. So there have been some that are out there that I'm not aware of. So that's why I say 100 plus. Those noted in blue are just local preservation commissions, but those noted in green are local preservation commissions and certified local governments. And if you decide to move forward with a historic preservation commission in Nashville, we can have that conversation later. That's a partnership between the state and the federal government and the locals, and it opens you up to a few more grants. So that's the benefit of certified local governments, which I refer to as CLGs. So we'll talk about that a few more minutes. If you hear me say CLG, that's what I'm talking about, okay? That awesome map that I showed you guys earlier, that interactive map, you can turn off all these layers. I turned off all the layers except for local designations in North Carolina. And these are the local designations in North Carolina. Now, these are the known local designations. Because our office has no oversight, we rely on the local government to let us know when something is designated. So there's many out there that the planner, and I know Mr. Lucas can attest to this, you guys wear a lot of hats. And sometimes when something gets designated or something happens, if it's not priority, it takes a backseat. So we're not informed. So like I said, there's more out there than that, but that's what we have knowledge of. Now, although we don't have any purview over a local government, once a historic preservation commission investigates and creates a report on a local landmark or a local district, legislation requires them to send that report to us to review and provide comments. Our comments are non-binding, though, so we may tell you that's the worst thing we've ever seen, but you can still designate it. But you do have to consider our comments, and that's for another conversation further down the road. Why do you have local commissions? I could stand here and talk with you about that for hours. I won't do that to you. However, I pulled from legislation 160D 940, where our legislators felt that the heritage of our state is one of our most valued, important assets, and the conservation and preservation of historic districts and landmarks stabilizes and increases property values and strengthens the overall economy of the local government and the state. Yeah, I didn't know it was going to do all that. All right, now to the nuts and bolts. Historic preservation commissions, this is all from state legislation that I'm sharing with you now. State legislation requires you to have at least 3 members. Our office recommends 5. We can have that conversation later if this is what you decide that you want to pursue. Terms no greater than 4 years. The majority of the members must have a demonstrated special interest, experience, or education in history, architecture, archaeology, or related fields. And of course, they must reside in the planning jurisdiction, not necessarily in the district that they designate, but in the planning jurisdiction. Does Nashville have an ETJ? I'm sorry, I didn't check.
Yes, ma'am, we do.
That's a whole nother ball of worms, but is it ball of yarn? Anyway, a little nervous here, I apologize. If If you designate anything within your ETJ, you would have to have someone in your ETJ on the Historic Preservation Commission. Again, that's a conversation for later if you guys do decide to pursue this. So what are you supposed to preserve and protect? Well, you can protect individual landmarks, you can protect historic districts, or you can do both. There are some local governments that just do one or the other. Most do both. But whatever it is, it has to be of special significance to Nashville, and it has to possess some integrity. And those are the characteristics, the criteria of the integrity there pulled out of legislation. Many of those are also the same integrity that is evaluated for National Register nominations. So, here we go. Certificate of appropriateness is required in local designations before anything is erected, altered, restored, moved, or even demolished. It's the exterior only. Interior is not in districts, but in individual landmarks. If the property owner would like to include interior features, specific interior features, they can. At the Historic Preservation's discretion can be signage. Of course, they can't regulate the content, but size and width or whatever. Color, significant landscape, archaeological, or other natural features. I think Anna mentioned the trees. Several local historic preservation commissions do regulate trees. Several regulate paint color. Our office does not recommend that. That's something that's going to change, but we do recommend that you not paint historic brick, though. And the reason for that is because if you paint historic brick, you are asking for potential structural issues down the road. So not only is it an aesthetic thing, but painting historic brick is very dangerous for structures. And part of the Historic Commission's job, they are given 11 powers, and that's in 160D 942. This is just one of those powers, is the regulation and then recommending designation. But they're also tasked with educating the public. And we have trainings across the state that our certified local governments have to participate in, but non-certified local governments are allowed to come and join and learn as well. But we encourage historic preservation commissions to share with their public why this is important, why historic building material reacts differently to modern products, why it's still around. Why are some of these, but you've got a building that has been around since 1830, or parts of it has. I mean, that's a long time. Anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent, and I apologize. You do regulate masonry walls, bricks, fences, light fixtures, steps and pavement, and other appurtenant features, and above-ground utility and structures. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Certain changes are not prohibited, though. So ordinary maintenance and repair. If there's an unsafe or dangerous condition, like when Florence hit Newbern, safety first. It's the people first. As Mr. Shackelford said, these buildings are the stories of the people. It's the people first. So anything that's unsafe does not fall under that. Use of the property, the Historic Preservation Commission cannot regulate use of a property. Historic Preservation Commission, when they review certificate of appropriateness applications, that is a quasi-judicial process. They can't tell you that they won't approve your COA application. COA is certificate of appropriateness. They can't tell you they won't approve your application because it's ugly, because they don't like you. They have to use design standards. This is a quasi-judicial process. These guys are all certified local governments. I already had this slide made. They recently updated their design standards using CLG grant money, so I just put this in here just to show you some examples. But any COA has to be reviewed based on what's in these design standards. If Nashville moves forward with a Historic Preservation Commission, it's on the commission to create these design standards. I strongly encourage you to have the community involved in the creation. They need to have a voice and say, hey, this is what's important to us. This is what we feel needs to be done to help preserve Nashville's charm. So another conversation for another time. I know I keep telling y'all that. You're getting tired of it. Just to wrap it up, there's an economist out of D.C. His name is Donovan Ripkema. Does a lot of studies on the economic benefits of historic preservation. He's done several in North Carolina. His website's Place Economics. I think it's .com or .org, but I think it's .com. And all of that is available on his website if you want to read a little bit more about what he's done in the economic benefits. But this is from an article written, 24 Reasons Historic Preservation is Good for Your Community. And I thought this quote summed up what historic districts, historic preservation means. And so I won't read that to you. You guys are all able to read, but I just thought it was nicely done how it put that into perspective. And these are our offices. Lauren is the lucky one in that Greenville office. I started out there, and I love it and miss it terribly. I'm out of Raleigh, so I fight traffic a couple of days a week. But whatever you decide, if you decide to pursue a local historic preservation commission, or if you decide not to, our job is to serve you. So regardless of your decision, please call on us. We actually will be back in November to work with an individual property about helping them develop a preservation plan because it's a historic building. So, any questions?
I got one. In '87, do you know why the town didn't move forward with local? They did all the work, but didn't do anything. Do you know why? Is there any records?
There might be, and I can check those. I'm going to Raleigh tomorrow, and I will be. In fact, let me write it down because I'll walk out of here and
that'd be a
totally
good thing to
forget.
review, I think.
Yeah,
No.
it's a good idea. I think the biggest reason, and I don't know this specifically for Nashville, is just people don't want people telling them what to do with their properties. And local designation, there is that piece of that, but you've heard the hysterical commission, the pretty police, but what people don't understand is they have to follow those guidelines. So I'll look into why they didn't pursue HPC back in '87.
And if we decide to move forward with this locally, let's just take the 10 houses on Washington Street. Do all 10 have to agree, or does the town force it on those 10 people?
They do not have to agree right now. There is legislation in that 75% would have to agree. The legislation has not been passed yet. They don't have to agree. I encourage you to work with them and explain why you would want to do that if you do want to do that. Help them understand it's not a punitive thing. It's actually to protect them from future neighbors, from future development. But they do not have to agree per legislation.
So locally, it would just be a volunteer basis.
No, commission, if you set up a district, everything in that district would have to follow what's in 160D 947 and would have to request a certificate of appropriateness before doing any exterior work. Now, there are two types of certificates of appropriateness. There's a minor work, which the local government staff can approve. So minor things, whatever the commission decides is minor, it doesn't have to go before the HPC. I might have skipped a...
Well, I guess I'm a little confused. So you said that it doesn't, it's volunteer, but then you said that the rules still apply.
It's not volunteer.
It's not volunteer, okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize if I sometimes I get a little nervous.
I'm just as confused as Bill.
Okay.
So I'm looking at this nomination.
Uh-huh.
So if we were to create this commission and they said, okay, we're identifying this as our historic district, you're saying every house in there would have to comply with these standards, whether they want to be considered part of this district or not.
If it's a district,
So
yes.
what is this nomination paperwork?
That's the National Register.
The national, so this
That's
is
the
not
national.
local.
This is
Okay.
not. You have nothing local. Local is passed by ordinance.
Okay.
The Historic Preservation Commission would do the investigation and recommend to you what to be designated locally You make the ultimate decision. The local governing board makes the ultimate decision about what is designated. And it is passed by ordinance. It's a zoning overlay. It's like, and that's the district. You can also do individual properties. And it does not have to follow the National Register. Totally, we're talking apples and oranges. This is your thing. This is what you decide you want to do. You don't have to, we're here to help. The National Park Service is there to help, but you don't have to follow what our boundaries. In fact, you probably can't because there has been so many properties demolished. You probably wouldn't want to do that. I skipped this slide, and I apologize. Certified local governments have to do annual reporting. So there are only about 55 certified local governments out of the 100 plus, so say about half. And we work on a federal year. One of the questions I asked them for the federal year 23-24 was to provide this certificate of appropriate applications. These 55 local governments had over 2,000 certificate of appropriateness. Only 54 were denied. I can't do math, but what is that, 3%? So only 54 were denied. About 500 or so were approved with conditions. I imagine those conditions were to help them meet the standards and the design standards. There were a few that were withdrawn, but it's a reasonably small amount of COAs that are actually denied. And if Mr. Lucas gets a COA and he thinks this isn't right, he can't deny it. It automatically goes to the HPC. So if it's a minor, but again, those are conversations we need to have later. I'm getting into the weeds here. But this is statistics from our last federal year. I haven't done this year's yet.
Mayor, if I may, I have one more question. So earlier you had said that this does not prevent tearing down of
Correct.
properties. So it will help when someone wants to fix up the exterior or wants to change the exterior. However, it does not prevent someone from tearing down property.
Correct.
So is there anything that would do that?
There could be easements or covenants if the property owner wants to put that on those. I would recommend going through our statewide nonprofit, which is Preservation North Carolina, to talk with them about that. If the property is of statewide significance, which is a whole nother application, but Cooley Manor. Cooley Manor is very important to the entire state. That would likely be considered if the application was done. Now,
But that has to be the homeowner who does the application.
it comes from the town. I encourage the homeowner to be involved, though. This is a community.
That's the one for Cooley, but originally when you said put restrictions on the deed, that would be the property owner.
Yes,
Right,
you're
right,
right.
yeah.
Yes, covenants
Two
or
different
easements
topics,
is the
yeah.
property owner. You're
Okay.
correct. Yeah, so does that kind of answer your questions as to what?
It does. I think we have one property that would.
Information.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I mean, there's so much history in Nashville. As Mr. Shackelford mentioned, there's stuff that I had never heard before. And just so you know, Nashville's near and dear to my heart. I stood here to fix my salad 30 years ago when it was Joiners. So I love Nashville. I love Nashville. So I appreciate you sharing that. I'm going to give each of you my business card before we leave, so remind me. So please feel free to reach out to me with any questions.
And Mayor, if I may.
Yes.
I just want to express my gratitude for you being with us. After hearing the love and compassion from our beloved community members at our last meeting and you having such a quick turnaround working with Mr. Sean Lucas, I'm grateful. It's a lot to digest, but you
Yes.
have brought it to us in a digestible manner. And so it's been very enlightening, and for that, I'm grateful. And so I know that we've got work to do moving forward. I've committed to being a part of making sure that we do some of that work. And this is a very good start, I believe, and it's been very enlightening. And so thank you for bringing it in such a layman's term and being able to engage us in this manner, which we as a council moving forward will have to engage our community to see what is in the best interest and how they feel moving forward. But
Correct.
so much, thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that more than you know.
And
so
I
sorry.
thank you also.
I
Yeah.
have one last question.
Okay, sure.
So if we wanted to go forward, you did say that we need community engagement. And so would that be something where we had community engagement first before creating the commission, or create the commission and then have the community come in and say, we'd like to have this as our historic district?
Both. I would definitely pull the community. This is a community issue. It's not legislative. I mean, you can set up the commission can set up the design standards, and you can go forward. But this is a community issue. I would encourage you to
you.
incorporate them into all of it.
Sean?
Mayor, if I may, we do know that there are some people watching online, and we truly apologize for the ones who could not make it today for this presentation. I've also talked with Ms. Christie about being able to come back one evening. We know the holidays are fastly approaching upon us, but come back either one evening between November, December, or either in January, to have like an open town hall meeting with community members where they can just come here, ask questions, and learn more about this. Because a lot of them did reach out over the past couple of days stating that we're going to watch it online, but we do have some questions that we would like to learn more about it. So we're going to work on that for all the community members who weren't able to come today out for this open kickoff meeting of this topic.
Thank you.
This will be a different event than a council meeting.
Yes, it won't
Okay.
be a council. It'll just be like an open town hall meeting where
Okay.
we'll just let her kind of facilitate it, and she can address some of the community members and ask those questions and give those answers that they're looking, searching for.
I think that can probably be the first step in our community engagement
Right.
to try to
Right.
Open up
make
that.
this happen.
Open up those
That's a great
conversations.
idea.
That's correct.
Great idea.
Again, thank you for coming, and we
Mayor.
appreciate it so very
Mayor,
much.
excuse me, we got another hand.
Okay, two quick questions.
Got a hand.
You mentioned
She's done so.
a house that has 1830s bones, and I know that the Baldwin Bachelor stable dates from, on Body Street, dates from at least 1900, possibly earlier. Are you aware of a single, and you might not be because you're over so many things in the whole state, but are you aware of anything in Nashville that predates the Baldwin Bachelor stable?
I would have to read the nomination, but my map showed, I would also want to go back and look at, oops, wrong way. I'm sorry, guys. I will get there. No, our historic preservation, our HPO web, if you Google HPOWEB, you will find that. Sorry if I messed you guys up.
Is that this may relate to my other question. How do people get to that interactive map?
I have a couple of cards with me. I'd like to make sure the council and Mayor Brown receives those, but I have some left. But our website, Lauren, help me, it's on my card. It's hpo.nc.gov. Yes, I had enough coffee this morning. Yes, ma'am. And you can find our information. You can find all kinds of cool stuff. I know I'm partial, but we have a lot of cool stuff on that site. So you were talking about ages. So many of those orange dots may be earlier too. I would have to do some research. We have 135,000 files. If there are any specific properties you guys are interested in that you can't reach out, that's not within the National Register District where you can access that, but it's one of those orange dots, please reach out to me and I can get you a copy of our file on that.
Okay,
So
thank
that,
you.
I don't know.
Thank you so very much. I will appreciate it.
Thank you,
Ms.
Mayor Brown. Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
I have 2 or 3 questions that I want to ask. I'm in full support that we go ahead and move forward and try to get a start on creating a commission to go ahead and start researching some of this stuff. My next question is, if a property in town has already been condemned by the county, is there anything this commission can do to stop that from being demolished if it's already been condemned?
I have a feeling the answer is no, but I can't answer legal questions, so that would be an attorney question, but I feel like there's probably nothing that can be done once that condemnation order is in. Yes, sir.
Okay.
There is something called demolition by neglect ordinance, and if we have a further conversation, we will talk about that. That is to help prevent properties from becoming so far gone that they do have to be demolished.
The property I have in mind, it is foregone. But anyway.
I'm sorry.
Is there anybody either on the council or in the audience, has there been a demolition date set for the the
property
residence
we're
is in
talking
question on the corner here, across from the church. Has anybody set a date?
Councilman,
That they have been disconnecting power, and I know Rocky Mount was there yesterday, doing some work digging with the lines, so I know they're disconnecting.
New power's in there, the water people have been there.
Yeah.
and we can check, Councilman Taylor, we can check the Nash County permit system when we get back in the office. Send out a corresponding email to the council, let them know if a demolition permit has been attained by Nash County permits to issue out.
I think we need to know that so we'll know exactly how much
Yes, sir.
time we got to work with. And another thing too, can anybody tell me how much green space that the church has that they're not using? That could be converted to a parking lot?
I know where the Ball House was torn down, that's green space. I know in the corner in the back where the bus garage is, that's green space. I know the whole bus garage area is parking on dirt back there at the Methodist church. They've got the whole parking space across the street.
Okay.
I mean, I don't feel like they need, I don't feel like they need more parking, but that they might just tear it down just for a lot, you know.
Okay.
Any other questions?
For me, I need to get answers to that.
Sean, do you have any other comments?
None at this time, Mayor. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
So I guess I put before our council to receive this presentation and then to start regarding how to establish a Nashville Historic Preservation Committee. Is that my understanding?
Are you asking for
A
a motion to move
Say it
forward?
again, please.
What I'm asking for is a vote to receive her presentation and for us to move forward in establishing a Nashville Historic District
I move
Commission.
to move forward with this and accept her presentation.
I second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you so very much. We will move forward with establishing our district, if it's legal. What?
Well, I mean, you're now saying you're gonna do it.
That was my
No,
concern.
they're gonna discuss if we move forward to do it, is what I meant.
Okay, that's, I think
You need to
I
amend
think
that
we
motion.
need- yeah.
Okay, do
Because
I
right now
hear-
it's saying we're going forward.
Oh,
Right.
do I hear
Do
a
I need-
motion
do I
that
need
we
to re-
discuss, make it,
Let me rescind my previous motion.
Thank you, sir.
I rescind that motion. Now, I meant to say, what did I mean to say? That we accept her presentation and to move forward as to further research at this time.
Yes.
Right, the
And
town
discuss it.
hall,
And discuss.
to get the community
Right.
involved, and to see if the
Right.
community wants us to move forward with the,
All for that.
yes.
right.
And I second that motion.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, and thank you again so very much. The next item on our agenda is condition and rezoning 111 West Cross Street.
Once again, thank you, Mayor and Council. As you know, at our last meeting, we held the public hearing for 111 West Cross Street for Mr. Bukit Ahmad Bukiite of Emerald Nash LLC. He has requested that property be conditionally rezoned to CZNR Industrial. Mayor, we have already went through the formality of the agenda report. We have already went through the formality of the public hearing. So here we are here today to discuss to either vote, approve, or deny, or table, or take no action on this. Just for the clarity of the people here, I will also just read what Mr. Bukiite is asking for and the conditions, and then I will table it back to you, Mayor, for discussion. He is asking for manufacturing, assembling, processing, distribution, metal fabrication shop, non-foundry, food manufacturing and distribution, storage of goods indoor and outdoor, warehousing, asphalt concrete processing and bagging, animal feed preparation and manufacturing, eating and drinking establishments, service retail land use, professional office space, indoor recreation center. The town's planning staff has recommended the following conditions be attached to this conditional rezoning if approved by the council. Significant submittable modification or revision to the approved site plan may require additional review by the Town Nashville Technical Review Committee and the Town Nashville Planning Board, as well reapproval by the Town Nashville Town Council at discretion of the planning director or his or her designee. The applicant must comply with the drawn-out site plan with regards to on-site storage, which that was in your packet last month. The applicant cannot stack storage containers on top of each other, and the applicant is allowed to have no buffer or screening for storage zone 1. For storage zone 2, either a vegetated buffer or fence. For storage zone 3, a fence only. For storage zone 4, a fence and vegetated buffer. The applicant must abide by section 24.4 noise, where it states unreasonable loud noise or disturbing noise shall not be allowed between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. The applicant must abide by the industrial I-1 zoning setbacks per the town of Nashville zoning and setback chart. Any fence the applicant plans to install must abide by section 1858 fence regulations of the town of Nashville zoning ordinance of standards. Any business signs must abide by the town of Nashville sign ordinance. Prior to the change of use, the following permit shall be issued by the town of Nashville Planning Department, which is a zoning permit. The conditional zoning map amendment shall be invalid until practitioners consent in writing to all the attached development conditions. Mr. Bukai did apologize today. He is currently out of the state on personal business. His wife, Maria, also sends her apologies to the board. She had a meeting this morning at her job that did not allow her to get out at 9 o'clock. He did have an employee who was able to come in and stand in, but we found out that the employee could not be here, so Mr. Bukai entrusted me to be able to answer or field any questions, and he did inform me, Mayor, if there are any questions that need to be relayed to him, he's either a phone call away or a virtual meeting away. I do ask if we do have to go to a virtual meeting to get him in on the computer, that we go to a brief recess to give us a chance to get everything set up. Mayor, I'll go back to you, yield to you for
Are
the
there
script.
any questions concerning this matter that we tabled the last time?
Mayor, if I may, Sean, I don't have the paperwork from our last meeting where we went through, what his requests were, but would you explain again what, go back to number 4, for storage zones 3, we mentioned zones 1, zones 2, zones 3 and 4.
Yes, sir.
Give me,
Can you
outline
pull
those
those up?
different zones
Okay.
again.
Let me see if we can pull
We
up
got
on
a
the
map of
GIS
it, if
right
you can
quick.
just pull it up.
Yeah, and I don't have it here, but pull it up if you got it.
If we can
One's
pull it up
behind
on
the building,
GIS.
One is behind the building.
2 is to the left of the building.
Right.
Okay, 2 is
Two
to the
is
back.
towards Tim Glasgow. Look at that way towards
Okay,
Braswell
okay.
Mills.
That's the left.
Right. 3 is towards the junction, but it won't be that
Okay,
side yard.
so the zones were front, rear, side, and side.
Pretty much, yes,
That's all-
sir.
that's all
Four,
I'm
four,
doing.
is- four is the front.
Okay, just like in fire department. Okay, I got you. I understand.
And he has agreed to the intensity of the zones to buffer, screen, and fence it due to the intensity of the residential neighborhoods. The ones that's close to that, he's going to do more intense buffering and screening. The ones that's more adjacent to commercial, we told him we could relax on the buffering and
I
screening.
understand. I got you. Okay.
Okay.
And Mayor, if I may, and Sean, with 4 being the front, would that be as a last result?
Yes, Zone 4 is pretty much last resort, and he has already explained to me that he does not plan on using that zone, not unless business is very booming and he is out of the wall shipping these things out that he's got to go to it. But right now, he said that is final resort, last resort of anything.
Okay.
Any other questions for Sean? If not,
Excuse me, Mayor.
all right.
Is this a representative for the company, Sean?
No, I'm sorry. I was wondering if I could just speak about the house on Church Street. If the
Oh, sorry,
thing
sir.
is
That
closed.
section
That's
is closed
already-
now, sir. We're sorry about
go.
that.
You can contact us after the meeting, though.
Yeah.
And you can also come to the next meeting for public comment to speak, sir. We'll be glad to speak with you.
So at this time, do I hear a recommendation to approve and pass ordinance 2025-28, conditional rezoning of 111 West Cross Street from B1 Highway Commercial to CZ-NR-1 conditional zoning, non-residential industrial?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion does carry. Thank you. The next item on our agenda is from our Finance Office Budget Amendment number 6.
And Mayor, if I may, before we go to the budget amendments, this zoning request that we just went through is a prime example of how a business in town works in harmony with the town planning board
Absolutely.
to get things done, unlike some of the other problems that
Yes,
we have.
yes, sir. Amen.
He did everything we asked him to do.
He did. I have to say he did, very diligently.
We're excited about the project too. Good
Okay.
say.
Good morning. I'm before you to present Budget Amendment 6 through 8. Number 6, Budget Amendment number 6 is for the fire department. The fire department received $300 donation from the American Legion to purchase flags. Budget Amendment number 6 increases both revenues and expenditures by $300 for FY '26.
Do I hear a motion that we approve the budget amendment number 6, increasing revenues and expenses for the fire department for FY-26 by $300?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Budget amendment number 7.
Budget amendment number 7 recognizes $2,399 for new revenue received from Tricia Richardson. This portion was a share of the fence installed at 400 South Body Street. This also increases the revenues and expenditures by $2,399 for FY '26.
Do I hear a motion to approve budget amendment number 7, increasing FY-26 general fund revenues and expenses by $2,399 to cover additional fencing costs on the town's property behind the town hall?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Next.
Budget amendment number 8, this amendment appropriates insurance proceeds received in prior fiscal year to cover the cost of repairing the bay doors at the fire station. The town received $7,539 in insurance proceeds, which are now being recognized as revenue in the current fiscal year. This budget amendment increases both revenues and expenditures by $7,539 in the general fund.
Do I hear a motion to approve the budget amendment number 8, increasing FY-26 budget revenues and expenses by $7,539 to cover the repair of a damaged overhead door at Fire Station 1?
Move to approve.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you so much. The next item on our agenda is Glover Park, PARTF project.
And standing in for our Park and Rec Director is Chris Haycock.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Corey does apologize for not being able to be here. He had a prior engagement for trails that he was part of, so he is not here. So I will fill in the best of my ability and try to answer the questions that you have. This is for a review and approve $27,461.86 change order and a $10,000 deduct change order for the J.W. Glover Park Part F projects / splash pad shelter at pickleball. We have received 2 change orders for the Part F for Glover Park that require the council's approval to move forward. Change order number 1 is $27,461.86 and includes expanding the footprint of the pickleball courts to make it wider and longer. $16,650 for the cedar-shaped vinyl siding upgrade on the shelter, which comes in at the $16,000, and then $2,100 drain line for the splash pad, and that comes in at $7,912. Change order number 2 is a $10,000 reduction to install a sewer pump instead of boring gravity line fed under 58. The contract requested this due to the existing utilities under Highway 58 that could not be relocated for directional bore. If both change orders are approved, this project cost would increase $17,461.86. We have $554,931 remaining in the budget for this project. During one of the budget work session, it was discussed or decided that we would wait to budget the remaining funds for the project until closer to the project completion date. If both change orders were approved, the additional funds needed for this project, in addition to the budget funds, would be $205,991.83. We are very hopeful that the naming rights for the splash pad and Glover Park facilities will cover a good portion of this amount.
Any questions?
Mayor, so we've got, setting aside what we already got on the contract, we've got $5,504 left?
So the project completion, we have $554,931.
Left over?
That's what we have left
Yeah.
to
To
go
disperse.
towards the project. If these change orders are approved, the remaining balance that we have that we would have to come up with would be $205,991.83.
In addition to the
In
550.
addition to the 500 is set aside,
over.
the 200,000 is the
Okay, so we already, it's all,
right,
we got something to do with $500.
Yeah.
right.
I was just asking,
I
because
understand.
it read like we had 554,000 over and above.
That's what we budgeted for the project. We still have
Okay,
the
I got you.
205 that's
He
left.
said,
to
if
go
over
for
and
the
above,
project.
let's go ahead and increase the splash pad. But that's not it. I got you.
Any other questions?
Why is it over that much more? Is it,
I know when we approved the budget, it was not put in, it was discussed that we would do a change order closer to completion date in case there was change orders that we would need to add or take away. So that was what was discussed in past budget sessions.
And I think just the general increase in costs of things, of, you know, concrete and construction work and things like that, it went from what we had projected to what it is.
But I thought we built a self-built building instead of a prefab and saved us a bunch of money, I thought.
They did, but it was still over budget. When we budgeted, it was still over budget what we had. When we got our bids in, they were over budget what we had, so that's why the 205,000.
I think the splash pad alone was like triple what
It was.
we had anticipated it being originally.
Right. And they have started, the building is structurally built, you know, still needs siding and stuff on it, but they have started on it, and also the pickleball courts.
Randy, did you want to say something?
Well, I was just gonna say it was the elements on the splash pad mainly that, you know, we wanted to have something a little more than just the bare basics, so we
Right.
made some decisions that added to the cost.
Yeah.
And we will be able to add on in future times if that's what y'all decide to do. So that's another thing that was added.
Any other questions or comments? If not, do you approve the change order number 1 and number 2 for the J.W. Glover Park project?
Move to approve.
Second?
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
I think it's going to provide a lot of fun and entertainment for our children and adults.
I think so too.
So
think
I
it's a
look
good
forward to us offering that to our citizens.
Absolutely. And I do have some name and right packets if there's anybody interested. So we just got these, so we're ready to push these out. So
We need that.
absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, the next item is surplus of police surplus equipment. Good morning.
We have 3 items that we've repurposed from a truck. One is a truck bed organizer, and a camper shell. Silver matches the F-150. Right now, it's just occupying space in one of the fire truck storage areas. Instead of taking it to the weigh station, we'd rather surplus it, try to get money to go back for the town. The third is a side-by-side that I inherited from previous administration. We didn't know we had it till about 2 months ago. The money had already been spent on it to be repaired. We have no need for an additional side-by-side that is used in that condition. My intention is to put it up on the auction site as well so we can get it off town property.
Is it running?
It runs now.
It runs now?
It is just not outfitted like all of the other ones.
Right.
So did we not know we had it because it was being fixed?
It just wasn't located here, and it was at the ATV shop in Wilson, and we got an invoice, kind of spur of the moment, and that's when I found out we had it.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Interesting.
That's nice. Okay.
The truck bed cover, what did it fit?
It was on a
F-150?
F-150 for a truck that was being used for crime scene equipment. We've since taken that and dispersed it across all of our investigators' cars so that you don't have to drive to the police department to get a vehicle to drive to a crime scene. And now the truck's being driven by a detective.
Any questions, Chief Shockley? If not, do I hear to declare the police department's extendo pickup truck bedside out a 2017 Polaris Ranger 4-seater and a silver camper shell topper as surplus and authorize their sale by an online auction?
So made.
Is there a
Second.
second? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
And I think that's all the items on our agenda. Do you have any comments, Randy? Anybody else? I just would like to say to the citizens, thank you so much for coming out. We love hearing your voice, and it's always a pleasure to see concerned citizens sitting in the audience.
Mayor.
Any other?
Mayor, if I may, the month of October, we recognize domestic violence, and we want to make our audience as well as our viewing audience aware of that, as well as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. All of us have been touched by somebody with one of these items, if not both. And then final, Mayor, if I may, in November, we will be doing a blood drive. What's that date? Randy, you have that date? December 5th. What time and what location? 1 to 5 here in the council chambers. And there again, we want to make sure that not only our staff, but our community is involved, because blood is a gift that saves lives. I personally have benefited from it. Some of you, I'm sure, have benefited from it. And we just want to encourage everybody to come out. This will be our first blood drive, and we want to make it successful. Once again, thank you.
Any other
And
comment?
Mayor, I'll remind everybody that hadn't done so already that early voting is in process right now. And you have 2 council members here, myself and Kate, are running for re-election, plus another individual that has thrown his name in the hat. But if you're really concerned about what's going on around you and what we're doing here, I encourage you to go out and cast your vote. And when you do go to the polls, take somebody with you.
Absolutely. Have a voice in what is happening. Thank you so much for coming out, and at this time, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.